So real quick, everybody, we are just going to give a trigger warning out there. We will be talking about abuse, domestic violence, and sexual abuse as well. So just be aware of that if you are sensitive to any of those topics. Welcome to Kinda Girly, where we kind of talk about everything and we're girls, so it works. And today we are going to be talking about feminism, and I'm joined with Elizabeth.
Hello.
And as you can tell, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm dead.
And I'm a bumblebee.
We're celebrating Halloween early, but you guys won't be getting this podcast till December 1st, so wow.
This just looks very out of context.
She's like, what's going on, guys? So if you hear a lot of bee puns, just know. Just know.
Yeah. How many times will Elizabeth say buzz off? Take a shot every time Elizabeth says buzz off.
Exactly. We'll be keeping a counter at home. But yeah, I wanted to I know what feminism is. You know, I've heard the term, obviously, who hasn't in the 21st century, you know, empowering women. We can all agree with that, right?
Hopefully.
But I don't really know too much about the history of it. I mean, I know like they fought for, hey, we want to vote. Exactly. So that's why I'm excited for you to like explain more in depth what it is, what feminism means, and who can identify with feminism.
Yes. So I know too much about feminism because I did my senior paper on feminism, particularly feminism within Christianity, which is fun and exciting. But basically, the big feminism movement started, I don't remember, but everyone knows the term. It's like women's suffragette.
Yeah, I know that.
Women wanted the right to vote, and there was like an influx of women who were kind of like leaving the house, getting jobs, all of that. And they were like, hey, if we're getting jobs, we should have the right to vote.
Exactly. We've got to be paying these taxes. Come
they
on,
were
man.
like, if we're being self-sufficient and we're kind of doing what men are supposed to, we should get the right to vote. And so they started fighting for that right to vote. There is something very important that does have to be, like when you're talking about feminism, there's like some things that you do have to kind of acknowledge. Yeah. It was not inclusive at all. The early feminism movement was meant for just wealthy white women.
Yeah, I get that vibe.
They did not care about anyone else. They just wanted like wealthy white women to have this right to vote. And it very much started off as like, women want the right to vote. We're like leaving the home. We're starting to get jobs. Like we want the right to vote.
Yeah.
And so that was like the start of the feminist movement. And again, most of my background ties into like Christianity and feminism, which is kind of valid because most of the early feminist movement tied in with Christianity because these were wealthy white women. They were all Christians. And so they were a lot of times like taking biblical passages to be like, hey, we should get the right to vote. And early on, men were like, hey, these biblical passages say absolutely not.
Yeah.
But yeah, they eventually got the right to vote.
That makes a lot of sense, the tie of like Christianity and feminism, because I mean, a large percentage of the population is Christian. So, and that's always been used as I don't want to say it like a weapon. I'm not trying to hop on anybody's religion at all. But
I will because I did a paper on it. It was used as a weapon.
But yes, in this context, it was used for malicious intent, and that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
You know? I wish things would have been differently thought out.
Yes.
But I also wanted to ask, who do you think can be a feminist? Because in my mind, I feel like anybody can be a feminist. Just anybody that says, yes, I believe that women are equal to men. We are all equal, period. And just holding that ideology makes you a feminist.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. I do think we need to define feminism because I think that isn't something we have done yet.
Yeah.
But feminism, by like definition, I like quoted the like I don't remember which dictionary, but basically feminism believes that women and men are inherently equal and deserve equal rights.
Mm-hmm. We made from the same stuff, guys.
Which, like, I feel like isn't problematic. Like,
no.
I mean, again, I'm a woman, so I like to think, like, yeah, I deserve all the rights that a man would be granted if he were in my position.
Give me them rights.
Like, whether it's, like, pay or just
status.
life.
I don't know.
Like,
just being held at an equal standard and not being treated differently or discriminated against because you are a woman.
And, like, not even just discriminated against. Like, even in terms of, like, if I mess up, I want to get called out on it to the same extent a man was. Like, if I kill someone, I don't want a lesser... I'm not going to kill anyone.
Are you sure?
No. But if I kill someone, I don't want a lesser sentence than a man would have. And if, like, there's a woman abusing a man... Because, like, that happens in domestic situations.
Exactly.
I think that she should be held accountable to the same extent that a man should be.
100%.
So, like, I'm not saying, like, oh, women should just get all the rights and not have any of, like, the downfalls. I'm saying, like, women should be held equal and, like, all that entails. Like, a lot of the times men are like, so you think women should be in the draft? I'm like, yeah, I think they should. I don't think that women deserve to have an exception.
Yeah.
Like, do I personally want to be recruited into the military against my will? No.
I don't think most people
don't. But, like, if
if
men have this potentiality of it happening to them, then women should also. Yeah. And then, like, the thing that I hate is when, like, men are like, oh, so I can hit a woman? No. At no point is that okay. Even if she wants equal rights. Just don't hit people.
That's not what we're talking about here, folks. We're talking about being treated as equal people.
Yeah, like,
with
if
the
she
same
hits
play
you,
field.
you can hit her back.
Exactly. That's
like,
a different story.
Just don't go around punching people. Hear me out. That's assault.
Yeah, that's not a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But when you said, like, women, like, getting the same like, for example, a woman committing murder or domestic abuse against, like, their significant other, I completely agree with that because I feel like that's downplayed a lot. Like, oh, she didn't beat you up, or oh, she's not hurting you.
It's like, oh, she's smaller than you. Like, why didn't you stop her?
Exactly.
Because,
but
like, no.
That's not the thing. There's so much more that goes into it psychologically that people don't understand. And yeah, I can completely agree with that point, especially which, trigger warning, we could be talking about domestic violence in this podcast. So be aware. Oops. If you are not okay with that. But, like, with like, as well.
Yeah.
That is a very big thing.
Yeah.
And although it's not as common for a woman to a man,
she should still be held accountable if it does happen.
Because I've heard stories before where, you know, that's happened to a man and he came out about it or tried to confide in his friends, and they're like, oh, what? You didn't like it? You didn't enjoy it?
Yeah.
I'm like, that's disgusting.
No, I know this, like, something similar happened at like with some people I know, and he purposely didn't report it because he was like, no one's gonna believe me.
Exactly.
And, like, no, women should be held to the same standard. That is what feminism is. Like, regardless of anything, like abuse, voting, bodily autonomy. Like, even with, like, divorce, I've noticed, like, a lot of times women, like, will get custody of the kids. Like, I don't think it should be default that women get custody of the kids. I think it should be determined, like, on a more fair basis. Yeah.
To take care of a child, like, emotionally and physically.
Yeah. So when I say feminism, I mean complete equality. And, like, granted, I also know, like, men are inherently, just because of, like, physiology, like, stronger than women. They're inherently like, faster than women because of physiology. And I think, like, there are still, like, we need to acknowledge the, like, physiological differences, like, in that regard,
and the stipulations that go into them.
But, like, in terms of the law, equality is what I'm going for.
And I think I would agree with that too.
Yeah.
Overall.
And I feel like feminism gets, like, a bad reputation because it's with any, like, thing. The
Yeah.
few out are louder than the majority.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the women who are out there who are like, women are better than men. Like,
Yeah.
women deserve, like, men should be subjugated to women. Like, no. If you believe that, you're wrong. Like, do I joke around and I'm like, oh, men are useless? Like, yeah. But I feel like everyone jokes around like that. Like, I'm pretty sure my fiance on many occasions has been like, you're the most useless person that ever existed. And I'm like, you're not wrong.
That's true love right there.
But, like, I believe feminism is true equality. And when women or men are like, women are better, like, I'll joke about it. But, like, in all seriousness, like, no, I think equality should be what we're preaching. But yeah,
completely agree. And with modern day feminism, more specifically, I wanted to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, because there's a lot of it out there. You know, obviously the good is, hey, we're showing that we are equal as people and that we all deserve to be treated the same regardless of gender. But then the bad and the ugly, I haven't seen too much, or heard too much, but like we were touching on just a second ago, there are some people out there that believe women are superior. We should be held to a higher standard, and basically degrade men. Yeah. And it's like, I don't know about that, but I wanted to know if you knew of anything specifically more about that.
Not really. I just know, like, the whole, like, feminazi idea where it's, like, women who are, like, men should be put in camps and, like, that's weird. That is so weird, first off.
We do not want to repeat history,
like,
in a different way.
Yeah. I feel like the bad and the ugly really is just, like, the women who take it, or men, because there can be men who also think like this.
I actually have seen and heard men say the same thing. I'm like, bro, what?
Yeah, I'm like, what?
You're literally a man.
What? Like, the people who take it too far are unfortunately the ones that people pay attention to. And so I think, like, they constitute the bad and the ugly. Yeah.
I think a lot of that has to do with, like, media exposure as well, because people like drama with anything, and drama sells. Yeah. So when people see drama, they're more likely to gravitate towards that, versus if they see truth or, like, something good, positive, they're like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, the news media controls what we consume. Like, there's so much that happens that, like, the news just doesn't even cover. So I feel like,
or does cover in order to try and cover up. There's a lot of...
I'm not a fan of the news media.
I don't think most people are.
Yeah. But, yeah. Do you want to know some, like, funny things that I found in my research of feminism?
Yes.
Okay.
Please.
So, this is more, like... So, one of the reasons that, like... There's really no real reason that people can find for why... the need for feminism started. So, like, why... men started looking down on women. There's, like, really no evidence of, because, like, we used to have a more egalitarian society where, like, men and women were more equal, like, way back in history. And so, like, they really don't know, like, what happened. They think with, like, the change from, like, the nomadic lifestyle to the more, like, stationary one,
and
like,
industrial.
Yeah, like, more with that is when, like, the change started to happen. But there's a theory on, like, why men might feel the need to, like, subjugate women. And this theory is hilarious to me. So, like, think about it. Is there anything that a man technically can do that a woman cannot?
Is there anything that a man can technically do that a woman cannot?
Yeah.
My tummy growled. Not that I can, I mean, just that he's stronger, so maybe lift, like, heavier things, but
like, is there anything a woman can do that a man can't?
Baby?
Yeah, exactly. So the theory is that men noticed that there were things that women could do that men could not, such as, like, give birth, breastfeed, carry a child, like, all of that, and they got jealous. And they were like, this is so rude that they can do this and we can't. So then they started to like try and put women down to be like, we're better than you, even though you can do this thing that we can't.
Oh, okay.
And so there's like actually historical evidence of men trying to like simulate like
what
pregnancy and giving birth and even periods. Like there was a culture where the men would like take a knife and like cut in between their legs to simulate a period, or like another culture would take needles and like stab themselves in the lower back to simulate like a period.
Oh hell no.
And then like men would pretend to give birth too. So like after a woman would give birth, like men would sit in like the birthing whatever and like pretend to give birth, and then like make their wives like who just gave birth like help them like pretend to give birth. And like the idea is that, and this is just a theory, this is like not confirmed, this is just a theory that I read in like my research for my senior paper. There's a theory that men wanted to like put women down because they were upset that women could do something that they could not.
Yeah.
But yeah, the thing that gets me is like the cutting themselves to simulate a period.
That is insane. Why would you even want to go through that? Women don't even want to go through that.
Yeah, exactly. But like it's like it comes from like a place of jealousy is the theory. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's just very interesting to me.
That's very strange. I could kind of see that though, because you know, like fear being lesser than drives a lot of hate. And also going back to the Christianity thing, I could kind of see like, because Christianity in a sense like instills some sort of like fear.
So I think the ugly part of feminism is when people just like completely misinterpret things. Like they misinterpret what's being said, what the actual idea is, because there is this belief that the idea of feminism is one that like wants to put men down, which like there are people out there who believe that, but they are not the majority. They're just the louder ones.
Yeah, they're not the collective voice.
Yeah.
Overall.
So I think that's like the ugly part. And I think the ugly part also is that there are a lot of things that like people are doing actively to prevent women from equality. Like there are laws being passed still that like aren't great for women. There are expectations put on women that aren't fair and all of that. And I think that's probably the ugly part, is like despite the fact that we've made so much progress, we're still not there.
We're not complete yet.
Yes. And again, the ugly part too, I think, is the idea that like feminism was not founded on the idea of equality for all women.
You got it.
Feminism was originally for women, white wealthy women. Like now it's kind of taken on a more diverse note.
Yeah.
However, I do highly recommend, if you are a person of color, looking into the mujerista movement, which is like the feminism more aimed towards people of a like Latin descent, and then there's the womanist movement, which is more aimed towards black women. So highly recommend looking into those if you are a person of color. I unfortunately don't know that much about them, but whenever I'm using the term feminist, I do want to clarify I'm using it for all women regardless of like age, gender, not gender
you got it.
Age, sexuality, ethnicity, nationality, all of that. I think when I say feminism, I mean all women. But there are people out there who don't mean that when they say feminism, which is truly, truly sad.
Yeah, that is sad. Because we're all struggling the same. We are all, in a way, a minority in this fight. Yeah. So we should do it collectively.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, I just keep popping off on things that I randomly remember about my research. The other thing is, being a woman does not exist in a vacuum. So like when you are doing these struggles, like we are very privileged in that I am white and you are white appearing. That like we have less of a difficult time when it comes to like our feminist struggle.
Yeah.
Because the feminism,
discrimination that goes on in the world.
Yes, because it was tailored for us when at its inception.
Mm-hmm.
But like it's important to acknowledge that like we as white appearing women, because I know you're not like purely white.
Hey, I still got some in me though.
Yeah. We as white women do not know the full struggle of like women of color, because like they are not just dealing with the like what's it called,
just like the stereotype,
the
they're discrimination not just of being
discrimination.
a female.
They're not just dealing with that, they're also dealing with the discrimination of being a person of color, or maybe even like the discrimination of being not straight or not wealthy. And so it's important also when like trying to understand other women's like struggle within the patriarchy to identify like what other things they might be struggling against.
To have more of a broad perspective. Like it's a spectrum. It's not just one thing. It's much broader than that.
Yes.
But yeah, my last thing that I wanted to address is, do you believe if you can identify as a feminist without claiming feminism?
Yes. So that was the like root of my research. Sorry, I keep coming back to that. That's just like my entirety of my background. Man.
It's kind of bugging me.
What?
It's kind of bugging me.
Oh my God. At first, I didn't even get the pun. I was like, what's bugging her? Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm caught up now. I'm a bee.
Good job. I'm a bee.
I don't remember the rest of that song. I just remember I'm a bee.
We gotta get copyrighted.
Oh no.
Please don't cover us, Black Eyed Peas. We love you.
Black Eyed Peas?
I think it's Black Eyed Peas. Oh, Kayla's nodding off camera.
Okay. So my research was to look at if women could like accept feminist passages within the Bible but not identify as a feminist. And many times these women were like, yes, I agree with all of these feminist passages. I would not identify as a feminist. And like I think a lot of it comes from like the misunderstanding of what feminism means. Because like there is the idea that feminism wants men to be lesser than, which is not the case, as we've said multiple times before. And so that is like why a lot of women will truly believe like the ideas behind feminism but not identify as feminists. And like there are other extenuating circumstances. Like there are women who believe that like they're equal to everyone except for their husband. They're like less than their husband, and like that I disagree with.
Yeah, I would probably have to agree with it. We're all in this together, man.
Yeah. And so like again, like I truly believe that you can be a feminist even if you don't claim to be a feminist. Like if you believe that you deserve the same rights as anyone else, you are a feminist. And if you are a man and you believe that women deserve the same rights, you are a feminist. Even if you don't agree with the like generally accepted term, as long as you believe in equality, you're good. You're vibing.
We vibing, man.
We accept you.
Come to the circle.
Join us.
We'll give you a hug.
One of us.
I don't think I can, like, I definitely believe in like women's rights and stuff. I've never delved into like the reality and the history and the context behind feminism too much, so I never defined myself as a feminist, but now that I have a better like understanding of it, yeah, I'm a feminist.
Yeah. It's really just all about like if you believe women should be held to the same standards as men, and if men should be held to the same standards as women. And I think that's true. I think people being like, you should be more ladylike. What is ladylike? What does that mean?
That is socially constructed,
based
off culture and geography. So
like
it's all subjective.
If you think I need to act a certain way, you better be holding men to the same standard, because it's only fair. Yeah.
Well, this is pretty insightful. Thank you, Elizabeth.
You're welcome.
And your beautiful self.
Thank you. I'm a bee.
But let us know, guys, if you have any differing opinions or any ideas or want to expand on the concept of feminism further. And don't forget to follow us on all our social media. We are also on YouTube at Kinda Girly Podcasts. And yeah, we'll see you next time, guys. Bye-bye. Bye.